be, I guess, very honest and blunt, if I can use the word, it sucked in the beginning. It was really bad. I mean, just
which part of candidates were the top 3 in the sucking list?
One was, we were traditionally, in the granite business before we grew into the other businesses. So it was not really something I even want to look forward to working in or doing. So it was not really joyful going to office every day. And I didn't understand most of it, and I had an economics background. So I guess, as Mr. Gurumurthy said, I'm probably one of those products with the dichotomy in the head. Anglo-Saxon thinking, but an Indian value system. But fortunately, I guess, most of for me, it changed, over the years. But the first one was that it was not really a place I wanted to be when I came back here. It was in 2000, and I didn't see the so-called liberalization that was spoken about so highly really working atmosphere on a day-to-day basis. The kind of professionalism, simple things that have made a difference in the West, like punctuality, being on time somewhere. When you say something, you kind of do it, you stick to it. Something that Mr. Pendurthi was alluding to. Those days of where a word was once given, it was done. Those sort of things, I think, had a tough time coping with it. And then I guess the third thing was the question: did I really want to do this? Until I found an answer in my mind that yes, this is what I want to do. Nothing looked good. Everything looked bleak. So it was more a perception that I saw, or that I was choosing to see, and until I convinced myself otherwise.
And so what was the sort of aha moment where you said, "Is paying look better"? What made you say you didn't want to come to work, nothing looked good, liberalization at least inside the company was not there? And what changed?
I think what changed was the fact that we got into other businesses than granite. That probably sparked a little bit more interest from my side, and the fact that we were diversifying and a couple of other initiatives that we started were taking off. I was able to probably focus more on that, and I enjoyed that slightly more to start.
You got some more space, perhaps.
Some more space, but then again, to be honest, I don't think under your dad you really get space. I know a lot of people give lip service to it, but I think there is still a boundary. And
like granite.
Like granite. It's a solid boundary. Of course, you're always free to exchange ideas, thoughts. You share your moods, your emotion. All that's okay. But at the end of the day, I guess the discipline has to be that there has to be a boss or someone who's leading and who's led so far. You have to give that respect and the space for them also. Just like you want your space. So
this is both ways. Simple question: as the business being built up, and clearly you played a major role in that. When you found your dad was not giving you space, fine. But when you found he was doing something that you thought was really not right for the business, in terms of the decision or the guy he was backing, how did you deal with that?
I don't think I had to deal with that. I think my father just did what he wanted anyway. He's been a time to take an opinion, take a view from those he sought it from, or unsolicited. So he's very open that way, no doubt about it. All credit goes to
your father is not related to my family, it seems like.
I don't think. But then again, I think the first generation entrepreneurs are built very different. I think they're built to work, and they're stuck by the conviction, which is why they are where they are today. And I think it's very hard to counter that unless you have a very good reason to.
So you just worked around the issue?
Worked around the issue, and probably, no doubt, I had confrontation time and again because we live in the same house. So you can't avoid each other.
So you're not married and moved out?
I'm married, but I'm still in the same house. But then you don't take it personally. It's your father. It's what are you getting upset about?
And also get up what you do about it.
Yeah, exactly.
So great. I think clearly, Abhishek, from the way the conversation is going, you're clearly the smartest guy among the four of us. Because you guess it's not going to work. It's not worth it. I just want my dad to remain my dad, and I want my business to remain my business. So talk to us about what was the sort of trigger point for you? You two went to this fantastic college called Loyola, right? So
I
fantastic.
guess all of us are college here.
Except him.
Yeah. So,
Niga?
PhD.
BHU.
So, basically, once I finished my education, I'll be honest, as soon as I finished my education, I thought it was my birthright to step into my dad's cabin, sit into my dad's seat. Period. I come from a fourth generation entrepreneurial family, so it's my birthright, I felt, and கொஞ்சம் ஜாஸ்தி படிக்க வச்சுட்டாரு அப்பா. He made me do a BCom, which I did good this thing, and then I did a CA, and then went on to an MBA, and then when I came back, I'm a BCom, CA, MBA, I have the cash, I have everything. Appa on the seat, you know, then I had this high hopes, let me be very honest.
And you know, Abhishek didn't do any kind of BCom, he got the gold medal, right?
So now I come into my dad's cabin. I still remember the date very clearly. It's 20th of February 2003. Walk into his cabin very nicely and then tell him, okay, Appa, where's my cabin? Very ego-shattering line which I'm going to tell you next. He says, okay, what you have to do is, we have Munin. Okay, we come from a Marwadi family, so we have a Munin, a person who takes care of the entire thing. He says, okay, please go to the Munin there, who is seated in one remote dingy corner. Take a stool. I rephrase, I will put it in quotes. Take a stool, sit next to him, understand how we do business for the next 7 to 10 days, and then we will talk again. As soon as I came out of my dad's cabin, my jaws had already dropped, my ego was shattered. The next phone was to my mom. Amma, Appa still dad here. I even his son. Okay, and my mom, 7 days, do what Appa tells you, then I will talk to him and then we will do something. He said, okay. My mom is saying so, I will do so, and I did so. Day one, I realized that the MBA did not teach me how many zeros were there in a crore. Day two, I realized that the MBA did not teach me what is with the cheapest way of sending a courier from Chennai to Bombay, where we had our offices. Day three, it did not teach me what we sell salt, okay, as one of our products. And day three, I realized I did not even know that probably a salt costs only 1 rupee 85 paisa, whereas we are selling it at 7 rupees, 8 rupees. Where is that goddamn profit going? To be honest. Day 7, I come to dad and I say, Appa, can I do one thing? For the next 1 year, let me go through this entire thing. And he says, I'm happy that you have chosen this. And for the next 1 year, I went into every detailed functionality, right from sending the couriers to which courier wala I should choose, to see every bit of that. This thing, how do we stack cement this thing, or how do we stack salt noodles?
You really started MBA then.
Yes. I'm being very honest. And thanks to that decision which my dad and I took together, that 12 months was almost 18-20 months, actually made me a complete person. This Ravens was not the best. Okay, I'll be very honest. Every bit of it did. I bought in computers because until then they were only ledgers. I bought new systemization. I bought in a lot of new things which my dad and uncle, we run a family business. Both of them did very happily accept everything. Till a point in 2009 where I felt I am getting limited to family business and I can grow more. Typically, the eldest great grandson, it's not an option that you step out of your family business. And I felt no, I should. There was also a small tiff in this thing, and then I guess 100 people would have called me and told me, your decision to walk out of family business is the worst thing that you're doing. The last thing that you should ever think about it. And trust me, when I walked out with zero capital.
And not a whole lot of goodwill.
And zero goodwill. Just the Abhishek, no Mehta. So trust me, it wasn't at all easy. And now the first thing was how to deal with business requires capital. Where to get capital from? Home requires money to run household expenses. Where to get these things? I would drive Mercedes-Benz and BMW, and suddenly that evening everything was blue, and I did not know what to do. Thankfully, something which was given to me by my father, which never ever anybody can take from me, is something called knowledge. Though I did not have capital, I did not have anything else with me, but I had something which was called knowledge. I knew how to post a letter. I knew how to post a
courier
letter.
service, that was clear. I didn't go to the courier service too. So.
Yes. Yeah. So somewhere, manasla irundhathu seri, if I go to any company or 20,000 salary vandrum. But then, being from an entrepreneurial family, salary and this thing does not go easily. We went on to me and my young brother started this, and we chose real estate. Real estate requires money.
Where did the capital come from?
Now we went to 100 people, and all the 100 people we said, okay, now I come from so and so. They already know my family background. I told them I don't have the Mehta with me. I still have the Abhishek there. 95 declined and said no, thank you. 5 of them, to be precise, 3 of them came forward and said, okay, let us do something and join and see how your first project goes. My first project was an 8 apartment. 8 became 16, 16 became 24, 24 became 48, it became 164, it became 208 in exactly 35 months since I've made my
It's a great story. What you're really saying is community capital or angel capital or whatever is really, in fact, as you know, statistically, it's actually more than private equity in most countries. And you were a beneficiary of that.
Yes.
So here we have 3 very interesting examples, right? Somebody who kind of co-entrepreneur with his father, right? And then really you're the entrepreneur as much as your father in that sense. Somebody who just went in and after 10 years and it really became a huge success. Somebody who said, I took knowledge from my father, but I really took capital and executed on the side. What's your point, Sri Dixit? I mean, you hear these 3 different cases. What can the group here take away from joining the family business? It seems like in most cases, if I can honestly say, an accident, very little planning, but then each has produced success.
Basically, the subject what I heard was the entry into the family business from the next generation. I would like to classify entry of the next generation. There are 2 sets of next generation come into. One is a capable next generation, one is an incapable next generation. Especially what happens when the family and business run into 2nd, 3rd, 4th generations, if the wealth is too much in the system, it erodes the entrepreneurship from the next generation and they become very dependent. And number 2, especially in India and both in middle class, mid-sized family businesses, the children are sent to do their education. Some are really capable, they go to best colleges, best schools all over the world. Some go and get their master's degree because without that they won't get married. So therefore they do an MBA. It's very important. You will see there are a number of colleges, good colleges, who will get you an admission if you give a big donation. So there are this capable next generation, incapable
capable next generation. So how does the entry take place? These are all the following models are widely practiced. One is, if they are very capable, they get invited to come and they are being lured, emotionally blackmailed, as we heard in some cases. They are being lured to please come and join my business. It has grown. I don't know what to do. I started. Who will take it to the next level? Some are being forced. Some are being just invited. Some are being forced. They don't have a choice. If you don't do, it will happen to me. I will have a heart attack. All the dramas will go on in the family. That's another option. Some family, some fathers, especially it happens in the first generation, if they have built it from scratch, they say, look, it's not your birthright, please earn it. Unless you prove yourself, you are not going to get an opportunity. And some next generation entrepreneurs have been given a choice. Look, this is what I have. I know you have done a lot of big studies, you have gone to this college, that college. I don't know whether it will be able to satisfy your appetite or not. Of course, this is one of the choices, consider it. The family businesses, predominantly what I have found, the first generation people when they start, they don't have an orientation to perpetuate from generation to generation. It happens only after a couple of generations have come into the system. So therefore, they don't...
If I can just stop you here, I just heard from the wonderful folks at Metis that only 3% of the 3 out of 100 family businesses go to the fourth generation.
That's correct. So therefore what happens, that there is no long-term orientation to take it to generation to generation. So there is no perpetuity. They say that if you are not going to join, I will sell my business, whatever the money is there, I will distribute. So therefore they don't really come from the custodian orientation. So they give a choice, and that if you want to come join, there's something I have created, and if you don't want to join, it's fine up to you. So what happens when the next generation people, when starting a business is not very easy. Being an entrepreneur is very, very difficult. So what happens, the next generation people, they find if there is any foundation already do exist, it's a great capital. It may not be a big business, but it's really a great capital where they can go and say, okay, there's an infrastructure, there's a name, there's a little capital, there's some good business.
Social capital, reputation capital.
All these capitals are available and they can take it up further from there. So it all depends on how the family members want to model it. So therefore, and also one more important thing in the entry is that where do these people make an entry? Do they make an entry at the top level or do they make an entry at the bottom level? Or how the entry is being designed?
Well, here we have 2 cases where people had no experience before they joined, and then a case where somebody had 4 years experience.
Yeah, so no, one is the experience part. Secondly, I work with a family where the son who just finished his graduation, very, very well-to-do, wealthy family. So he told his mother that, look, father is asking me to come and join at a bottom level. I'm not ready to do any of those things. He tried fighting with his father, saying that, look, unless you give me board directorship, I will do this, I will do that. Nothing worked. Father was very stern. He said that first learn from the bottom shop floor. This guy tried for a couple of months, nothing worked. One day he took his Mercedes-Benz S-Class, driving on the car at a speed of 120, called his father, unless you make me director on the board, I will smash your car, I will go and commit suicide. You decide now.
It's a very different entry strategy.
And the beauty is, the father is on the other car talking to the son and passed on the phone to the mother, said it's a Delhi-based family. Aggressive culture. So she passed on to the phone to mother, keep him engaged. He is calling me on the other line, please tell me what should I do now. I told him, commit, ask him to come back, we will decide later. So it depends, the entry and the successful structure of entry which has worked in many families is that help them to go and get some outside experience. Don't ask them to come and join straight away in your business. After they do graduation, ask them to go and work outside for a couple of years. And try to ask them to earn the job on their own. Don't try to get a job for him. Otherwise, they won't really earn it. Once they have worked in an outside environment for a couple of years, the best practice is to go and send them to some good business school to do masters and then give them the choice whether they really want to come back. Because it's all driven by the purpose of the family business. Whether they both share the same purpose. If they both share the same purpose, then they are most welcome to come and join this and take it forward.
So you're saying basically three things, I think, if I could summarize it. One is you're saying, make sure that there is a path, a flight plan. Work, college, then maybe work again. Second, make it a choice. So make it a very conscious choice, don't, and make so that people are constantly thinking about it. And thirdly, you're basically also saying, test their own passion. Do they really, have the capability, and do they also have their desire to match that at the same time? Even though they're making a choice, you're making your own assessment.
That's right.
So you're saying planned entry, this Mercedes-Benz strategy, no. Right. This is the second thing. There's a very nice quotation by Shiv Nara I was using the other day, where he basically says, give the masters of Indians enough tools by giving them skills. Entrepreneurs will take care of the rest. That is the example of everybody in this room, right? Indians are so entrepreneurial. This example, we have amplified the entrepreneurship story. I just want to go very quickly in the interest of time, so we maintain a 45-minute promise to Metis, and ask very quickly, rapid fire, three of you. There is something of what I've understood from Guru and what Suresh said, professional with pride, as the word expressed, that there is something called a family business professional. See, Dixit has also defined that. So my understanding of this family business professional is A, he comes from the family or she comes from the family, because I think that's more important to everybody. So their family, they have family values. B, they're professionals. They've gone to this, they've been educated, they've got the job on their own. Appa Amma did help them to get the job. So they're professionals, they're capable in their own right. You work for 4 years somewhere. You could have worked probably, and both of you, anywhere you wanted to. They're professionals in their own right. And third, they're passionate about joining the business. So somebody who's from the family, who's capable because of this professionalism, who's also passionate about joining the business. This is three very tough choices, right? It appears to me. So I just want to go around the room and say, what in your mind, what is this family business professional? In your mind, three things you think that make that person, and maybe even three things you think that they should never have.